Future Proof is sponsored by Concordia Dental Healthcare, expert care you can trust.
Hello and welcome to Future Proof. Thank you for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, and I really am now approaching the end of Series 2, and I've had such a wonderful selection of people to speak to interview and to hear from, and indeed I've been sharing some aspects of emotional intelligence. It's been delightful that Concordia Dental Health have sponsored it. You can find them easily at concordiadental.com. Today in the studio I have a nerd.
Proper nerd, yes indeed.
Okay, so we're going to find out more about that, but first of all let me just give you his name. It is, and I want you to say it properly. I'm going to say it first and then I want you to say it properly. It's Michal Bosnovich, and his business is MB Sites. So it is IT orientated, but from a nerd's point of view, so I hope you enjoy the programme. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, it's a pleasure.
It's really good to see you. So first of all, can you tell me your name properly, because our names are the most special thing Precious will ever hear.
Right, the proper pronunciation of my name is Michal Bosnovich.
Yes.
But I've gone by Mike for years now because CNH, which in Czech is H, is very difficult to pronounce in English. So I just make it easy for all you guys here and gone by Mike.
So you've been in the UK 15 years?
13 years.
So you like it here then?
I do, yes. Yes, originally the plan was to come over here to learn English because it was close enough to Czech Republic to get here.
Yes.
But since then I fell in love with the country and I've been here ever since.
Well, it's really good to have you here, and we will be finding out more about what your business does and who are you. But I actually want to go straight into emotional intelligence, because when we were talking about or preparing for the programme, I really loved what you had to say about emotional intelligence, but more importantly how you automatically went on to talk about its place in business. So what is emotional intelligence and how do you see its place in business?
Well, emotional intelligence is basically the ability to perceive your own emotions and feelings as well as others, and then properly react to those. So using I get stuck already.
That's okay. No, so using, I think you said about understanding our own emotions, and then using that knowledge to help understand the emotional behaviour of other people. And you talked about the difference between small businesses and corporates as well, the larger businesses.
Yes.
And how did you, because I actually wrote down what you were saying here about them being able to assess and for supervisors and managers, and why that was so useful. Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Yes, because in a big company where you have lots of people, and you know, we all go through different things in our lives, be it sad, happy, you know, tragedies and all that. And I think that now more than ever we starting to realise that it is important to work with the emotions as well, rather than just, because back in the day you would have your boss who would tell you what you need to do, how you need to do it, and that's it, done. But these days we're looking more into how people behave under different pressures, or when they feel different emotions. And I think it's a big part of productivity.
Yes, and also I think it is a reflection too of the more pressured work environment. I remember when my husband was chartered accountant, he really looked forward to being a partner, because at the time he was seeing the partners playing a lot of golf and things like that, because by the time he made partner, all that kind of time had gone. The pressures had increased. And I actually heard a news report the other day about doctors and the number of doctors that are really struggling and seeking mental health support because of stress. But staying with that emotion and understanding, that is how you work with your clients when you are building websites, because you talked about the personality. You said like the bigger corporates, they could be quite cold and not have personality.
Yes.
So tell me how you work with your clients to get their personality to put it into their website.
Well, because I mainly work with small businesses, which is, you know, in most cases it's a few people, sometimes it's just a one person. which basically means that the website should be personal. It should reflect their personality, not just the business, because at the end of the day, the business will reflect the personality of the owner of the business to a certain degree. So I always try to meet with the client and we basically have a chat, because I want to find out what they are like, what they would like design wise, and also it's not just that client, but it's also the end user. So I always think, who will be the end user?
Yes.
Who will be viewing this website?
Yes.
So recently, well, it's a while ago, I've done a website for White Dove release, and because it's something that you release doves at funerals, weddings, but also birthday parties and things like that. So it had to be design wise, it had to be subtle, it had to have sort of classy feel to it,
yes,
without being depressing.
Almost like less is more, or like a crystal diamond kind of effect, where you've got the effect that you want, but it's not heavy and what have you, because it's sensitive to people.
Yes.
Using it. So you're a nerd, and I've had different IT people on, we know that, so I want to pick up on the nerd conversation, because you're known as a nerd. I was told you were a brilliant nerd. Why do you call yourself a nerd?
I think what defines nerd is thirst for knowledge.
Yeah.
I think that's what defines a nerd. So I'm a web designer, but I'm not just a web designer, I'm a problem solver. So when somebody has a problem with sort of regards to the website field, I try to think outside the box and learn new things. So for example, if a client doesn't have a nice picture of them, I'll grab my camera, I go to them, I'll take a picture of them, I'll edit it and use it on the website. So it's that, I think, that defines being a nerd. So it's not like you're a plumber. You learn how to do plumbing jobs and that's what you do. Within the nerd industry, there's because it's always evolving, there's always new technologies. It's about staying on top.
Yes.
So I can please my clients by providing things that they wouldn't necessarily think I would be able to provide.
So talking about future proofing, and we're going to go in the break, and I want you to stay with me because I do want to talk about artificial intelligence. Do we need nerds as when we look ahead to the future? Is there a place?
Of course. I think in the future we're going to need more nerds than we ever did before, because the thing is, machines are not going to replace nerds. Machines and artificial intelligence will be there to aid nerds, but we nerds, we are going to be controlling it.
Oh, fantastic. This is great. So, if you're watching, then there's nothing wrong with being a nerd. It's not an insult, is it? You
Absolutely
wear the badge
not.
with
No,
pride.
I'm very proud to be a nerd.
Yeah. It's fantastic. And what I also like, and we're going to be saying more about this, is, and I've not heard this before, when you've openly talked about artificial intelligence being present, but actually the fact that the nerds will be driving it, and what is the key aspect of a nerd? What's the what skill do they need? What attitude do you think a nerd needs?
Being open-minded is
the
one
main
thing. Yeah.
And persistent, maybe.
Because the thing is, if you think about it, because the technology grows, it's not a straight line, it's exponential. So things that we yesterday thought were not possible might be possible tomorrow or even today. So it's the open mind and think about what could be possible rather than saying, oh, that can't be done.
Love it. And I just think of the open mind too. It's not like opening a book of a 360 line, if you know what I mean. I think the open mind is actually the 720. It's actually looking outside the box, under the box, and many people actually say get rid of the box because it's actually limiting your assessments if you're actually anchored to a sense of a box. And sometimes that creative thinking, I've said it to people before, design something on the moon or something like that, and whilst it might be silly or childish, and that childishness is so important that when you then come back into, okay, let's talk about it sensibly, your creative thinking has gone way, way beyond where it would ever have been had you not thought of, for example, the moon. Stay with us and we'll carry on in the second half as we talk about artificial intelligence.
EQ, emotional quotient, is better known as emotional intelligence. It is a tangible tool that can sit alongside your services or your product, and it can be taught. Leaders with high EQ have less stress, they're more effective, and they earn more money. There's a great saying, just because we have pains, it does not give us permission to be a pain. I believe that teaching emotional intelligence has a direct impact on your sense of success and your net profits. EQ will empower you and your workforce to drive the change that you want. Change brings transition. EQ can help unpack what's holding you back and speed up that period of transition.